He had failed 999 times. He sat in his parked car, the winter air pressing against the windshield. Inside, it smelled of burnt plastic and stale coffee. He stared at his notebook. On the cover, in thick marker, it said, "Fail log. Most people keep journals for memories. Daniel kept his to stay alive." He flipped to the last page. Attempt number 999, prototype overheated. Customer demo cancelled, refund promised, reputation hit. He wrote the last line slowly, like carving it into stone. "I am tired." He closed the book. He had looked stupid for 3 years straight. Rent was due, his credit cards were maxed, and his mom kept texting, "Are you eating enough?" He wasn't sure he could do it one more time. He started the car not to drive away, but just to feel something that still worked. That's when his phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Hey, I saw your post about the device failing again. I'm not a customer. I'm a repair technician. Can I take a look?" No charge. Daniel stared at the screen, suspicious and embarrassed. The night before, he'd posted a short video of his machine smoking and shutting down. He captioned it with the kind of honesty that comes when you're too tired to pretend, 999 times. "Still not working. I'm trying not to quit." It hadn't gone viral, just a few hundred views. And yet, somehow, it found this person. Daniel typed back, "Sure, it's a mess." The reply came fast. "Good, messes have clues." Daniel's machine was a portable water purify unit for emergencies. He built it because he grew up where the water pipes sometimes ran brown, and his little sister once got sick. He wanted to build something simple, affordable, and tough. The idea was noble. The execution was humiliating. The first prototype leaked. The second clogged. The third took forever. By attempt number 200, he stopped telling friends what he was doing. By number 400, he avoided family gatherings because someone always asked, "So, how's that invention thing?" By number 700, his life was a loop. Wake up, build, test, fail, write, repeat. He had to make it work, not for fame or money, but for the quiet satisfaction of solving a problem that mattered. Quitting would mean admitting those years were just expensive grief. The repair technician arrived 2 days later. Her name was Marisol. She wore a plain hoodie and carried a small toolbox that looked like it had lived through a war. She didn't have the excited, talkative energy Daniel expected. She had the calm of someone who's seen hundreds of broken things and never took it personally. Daniel apologized before she even stepped inside. "I know it's bad." Marisol looked around his workspace, wire scraps, melted casings, sketches taped to the wall like prayers. She nodded, "It's honest." Then she pointed at his fail log on the table. "You wrote everything down." Daniel shrugged. "If I don't, I repeat mistakes." Marisol smiled a little. "Good, most people don't fail 1,000 times. They fail 10 times and repeat the same 10 failures." She didn't start by touching the machine. She asked questions. "What exactly happens right before it shuts off? What's the worst failure you've had? Which part do you trust the least?" Daniel answered like someone confessing. Then Marisol picked up the unit, turned it over, and said something that made Daniel's stomach drop. "You're not failing because you're stupid." He waited. "You're failing because you're fighting the wrong enemy." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" Marisol tapped the casing. "You keep treating this like an electrical problem. Heat, power, circuits, it is." "No," she said gently. "It's a flow problem." She drew a quick diagram on a piece of cardboard. "You're pushing water through too tight a path. The pump strains, the motor works harder, heat rises, the safety trips. You're not overheating because the motor is weak. You're overheating because the system is suffocating." Daniel felt his face warm. He had spent months upgrading the motor, rewiring, adding tiny fans. All of it was like giving a runner better shoes while forcing them to breathe through a straw. He whispered, almost angry at himself, "How did I miss that?" Marisol shrugged. "Because you built this alone. Alone is good for focus, alone is terrible for blind spots." That night, Daniel was haunted. How many failures weren't failures, but symptoms? He pulled out his fail log and flipped through hundreds of old entries. Over and over, the same phrases appeared: pump whining, pressure spike, flow drops, clogging. It was all there. He just hadn't connected it. He wrote, attempt number 1000, stop fixing outcomes, start fixing the cause. Then he did something new. He didn't build a better version. He built an uglier one: wider tubes, fewer bends. Less cool design, more breathing room. It looked like something a kid made in a garage. But when he tested it, 5 minutes passed. Then 10, then 20, the unit stayed steady. Clean water poured out, consistent and clear. Daniel stood there, waiting for the familiar smoke, the shutdown, the disappointment. It didn't come. His hands started shaking, not from joy, but from disbelief. He ran it harder, still fine. Daniel sat on the floor and laughed once quiet and broken. It wasn't a victory scream. It was the sound of a person realizing he had been one insight away for a very long time. The next day, he texted Marisol a video. It ran for 45 minutes, no shut off. I don't understand, Marisol replied. You do understand. You just didn't trust simple. Daniel stared at that line. He had started believing that meaningful things had to be complicated, that success arrived with fireworks. But the truth was uglier and kinder. Sometimes success is just removing what blocks the path. Weeks later, Daniel did his first public demo that didn't end in embarrassment. He brought his unit to a community center. He didn't call it revolutionary, he just showed it working. A man in the audience asked, "How long did it take you to make this?" Daniel hesitated. He could say 3 years, or countless nights. But his brain pictured the notebook, 1,000 small moments of getting back up. So he answered honestly, 1,000 tries. The room went quiet. Someone laughed a little, thinking it was a joke. Daniel didn't smile. "I'm not saying that to impress you," he said. "I'm saying it because people think failure means you're going the wrong way." He lifted the unit slightly. Most of the time, failure just means you're collecting data. A woman in the front row raised her hand. "But how do you not give up?" Daniel looked at his machine. He remembered the car, the warehouse, the sentence he wrote, "I am tired." He took a breath. You give up when you turn failure into a story about who you are. He paused, choosing the words carefully. "I failed 1,000 times and still wasn't a failure. I was just someone building." That night, Daniel went back to his workspace and opened his fail log one more time. He didn't erase anything. He wrote one final entry: attempt number 1000 worked. Not because I became a different person, not because I got lucky. Because I kept showing up long enough to finally see what I was missing. He set the notebook down and looked around the same messy room where he had lost confidence 100 times. Everything was the same, but he wasn't. He had learned something simple and permanent. You don't win by never failing. You win by refusing to let failure have the final word. For the first time in years, Daniel went home without dread. Not because life was suddenly easy, but because he had real, running on the table proof that persistence wasn't just stubbornness. It was a method, a slow one, a painful one, but one that worked. Thanks for watching. If you've ever felt like Daniel, remember that every attempt is a step, not a final judgment. Keep building. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that inspire.